Hello friends, and welcome to the audio version of Knitography. I'm Patricia, and I'm coming to you from my little farm in the middle of Norway. A very, very cold middle of Norway to be exact. We are experiencing a very harsh cold snap this week with temperatures as low as minus 21 degrees Celsius. It looks like a frozen wonderland here on the farm, and especially within the forest. It's just so beautiful. An advantage with such a cold snap is the possibility to witness the northern lights, which we have been able to see several nights during the past week. I never grow tired of witnessing this magical phenomenon within the night sky. I've been learning a lot too about having the sheep here on the farm in such cold temperatures. For one, it doesn't seem to faze them in the least. Their woolly coats and little woolly beards are frozen and crispy with ice to the touch, but still they are energetic, come out, and stay out of the barn for several hours each morning. Being a bit overprotective though, I have shut them inside the barn for a few hours when darkness falls, so that they might just warm up and thaw out a bit after the morning and daylight hours outside. During the evening then, I let them out again for a few more hours before putting them in for the night. This seems balanced to me, although I'm unsure if it is necessary. We have also struggled with the electric fencing again this week, and frozen water pipes outside, and it has been very cold to be outside puzzling through these challenges. This weekend is also time to muck out the barn a bit and add a new layer of bedding straw. Despite the cold and the busy days on the farm, I have taken many magical walks into the forest. The snow is of the crunchy kind and a bit exciting to walk through. How does one actually describe this cold, frozen winter forest? It's white, shimmering, glittery in all its frozen beauty. It reminds me a bit of when the children opened the back of the wardrobe into the frozen land of Narnia. After chores and long walks, I've been kept busy in my farm shop and within the barn creating my selbu blockers and accessories. The days are finding a kind of rhythm that really allows a peaceful feeling to settle right over me. It's hard to describe, of course, but after so many weeks of an unsettled spirit, this is truly comforting. I've been knitting mittens, of course, still carrying on with my wish to knit through the book of 35 mittens during the Advent and holiday season. Book of 35 Mittens is maybe not the best translation for the title of this book. I am so curious what the title will translate to when the book arrives in English. In Swedish, it is actually 30 and 5 mittens. I finished the herbarium mittens and the tulip rose mittens, and now I'm on to the mittens, directly translated to the triple or triplet mittens. I have no idea what these mittens will be called in English, but all are a joy to knit. I have made a few modifications within the patterns, and especially one modification that I can share that I think would enhance the knitting of all of these patterns. Before beginning color work, especially after a rib cuff, I think it is always a good idea to knit one round in the background color so that you do not get the strange combination of background and foreground colors within the purl stitches. This is especially true within the triple mittens. After the gray cuff of knit 2, purl 2, you are asked to go right into the color work. But on the purl 2 bumps, you're going to have this strange combination that I'm talking about, and it will be visible on the right side. To avoid this, I have modified by knitting one round of plain knitting within all of the mittens just before the beginning of the color work wherever needed to make the transition tidy. I have also reduced the cuff on the triple mittens by 2 centimeters. It is a very long 10 centimeter cuff, which is very often found within Scandinavian mittens. A long cuff can be very handy going up and into the arm of an all-weather jacket to provide that extra layer of warmth over the wrist and a bit of the arm in very cold temperatures like we are experiencing this week. As this design is a more informal, everyday design, I am sure this is the reason for including the extra long cuff. These mittens would be perfect for traveling to and from work, going on errands, or just taking a long walk in the forest. In contrast are the tulip rose mittens, which have a more decorative cuff, which includes the Latvian braid. I talked about the Latvian braid within my previous episode. However, within this design, it is only knit at the very bottom of the cuff, and I think this is a lovely effect. You can see the result of all of my mitten knitting from the past week from this beautiful book of mittens on my Instagram feed. It has also been a very exciting week because my farm tee is finally ready to place within my farm shop. I created the infusion part of the tea here on the farm and then had it blended with a fair trade black tea within the city. I thought it would be very lovely to combine samples of my farm tea within a little farm tea kit, which I have created together with my mom. We have designed a pattern and put together little hand-sewn, on-the-go tea wallets made from repurposed charity shop fabrics. These tea wallets are perfect for storing your favorite tea bags to take along with you. You can pop them into your knitting bag or into your purse. I also designed a little birch tree tea bag button closure for the tea wallets as a perfect finishing touch embellishment. You also receive a sample of my farm tea, which is enough for 5 cups of tea. This tea is a blend of vanilla, cloves, orange peel, cinnamon, cardamom, coriander, and rose hips. The coriander and rose hips are grown here on the farm. The orange peel, which I have included, I have dehydrated myself, and I have added the most common Norwegian spices. This tea is so warming and delicious. It's smooth and slightly spicy. I have, of course, had a few taste testers who have given me wonderful feedback by asking for more. If you are interested in a handmade farm tea kit, just email me your order. You can find the listing for the kits within my Instagram farm shop feed at Knitography. The winter solstice is fast approaching and marks the shortest, darkest day of the year for us here in Norway. The next day, the sun will begin its journey northward, with each day becoming a little lighter. The changes, however, will be so slight during the days just before and just after this that the sun will seem to stand still, even though powerful changes are actually taking place. The solstice also marks the official beginning of winter and a celestial reminder that we must now allow for stillness and reflecting on the past year before beginning anew in the next. It is difficult during the festive season to take time for this reflection. The celebrations of the holiday can be quite busy and cause a lot of distractions. But setting aside this time enables us to make meaning out of the year that has passed. Once we understand what has transpired, we can better decide what it is that we hope to create in the coming year. It can be a time for the grieving of loss or celebration for accomplishments or opportunities, as well as a time for gratitude and identifying what we would like to do differently going forward. If we are courageous enough, we can take stock of our lives in this way and create the space needed to allow ourselves to fully experience our feelings, breathe through them, and process them fully. It isn't a time to be harsh with ourselves or judgmental, but rather lovingly honest and forgiving about the highs and the lows of the year gone by. This time of year, we can give ourselves an incredible gift when we take the time we need to reflect and become more self-aware. I myself am working through this very process of which I speak, setting aside much time for silence, being in nature, and sitting by the fire, knitting along. Using these long winter nights in this way is certainly creating more balance and peace within my own heart and spirit. One of my favorite Winter Solstice poems that exemplifies slowing down, taking a moment during this dark winter away from the busy distractions that are always calling out to us is by Robert Frost. It's called Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. The little horse must think it's queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake on this darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. Thank you, friends, for once again joining me for the audio version of my vlog. I hope as the winter solstice approaches, you will take some time for quiet, personal reflection and self-care. Hope you'll have a wonderful week of making and creating and sharing together on Instagram or through Ravelry. And until next time, keep reaching out wherever you can.